mastery in project management. So what Primms does is it enables this by allowing, it has a component for delivering on-the-job training. It allows that for, it measures repetition and experience, how many projects people have gone through. It also basically allows and fosters on-the-job type of training and knowledge transfer and an achievement orientation. So basically, this is an apprenticeship approach, if you think about it, where someone has on-the-job training and learning, and you as you get repetition and experience, you tend to advance. And the key thing is that what we're doing is measuring achievement here. So how does that do? How does that happen? And this is where I really think, honestly, that Primms is kind of a game changer potentially, in that it measures for project managers. It shows, for instance, in this case, I'm the project manager, John Aaron. What it shows is that the number of the projects I've managed, when I was appointed or if I was unappointed, the number of days I've acted as a project manager, the number of milestones I achieved, my actual performance as a project manager in terms of achieving my goals of actual versus baseline, my performance as a project manager in managing the budget and cost, whether I have actually achieved the project, which is critical, and if I've really passed my competency cycle. Now, the competency cycle is very much tied to mentoring. And what we have here is essentially a set of competencies that are project management competencies that a mentor can work with a person and validate whether the person has done it, whether they know it, right? That's kind of, showing evidence of knowledge. And also exit, meaning I've been able to sufficiently do it to execute this project. And so what this does, it keeps track of all these, and a mentor can work with an apprentice-type project manager and validate that these things have done. And we also have in the Primms tool what we call qual cards, which are the do's, the no's, and the exits that are needed. The exits can be company-specific and changed. The do's and no's we try to benchmark with, in this case, they do map to PMI's competencies. They're not exactly the same, partly because we don't want to get any copyright issues. These are actually from the U.S. Department of Labor. And so these provide a good benchmark source of information for a mentor to work with an up-and-coming project manager. And what you can do is kind of sign off on the do's and the no's, and it counts the repetition, the number of times that they've gone through this kind of a cycle, and keeps record of it, which is very, very useful. So, and again, I know this is a very brief overview, but nonetheless, this tends to reflect the Primms functions, and I'm showing you those from the viewpoint of a very, very brief kind of overview. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the tool, and we will essentially log in and just take an overview here and show you some of the functions in real time. And I'm going to log in a sandbox. That we've put together for example purposes. And when you log in, what you'll see is that in this case I have the highest level authorizations, the contract authorization or admin rights. There's also program admin, where essentially you can, as a program owner, you can do what you need to do at that level, but not necessarily in someone else's program. You also have the local admins, who are really the project managers, who may just have rights to manage their own projects. So what we have here then is we also have our request management that drives the portfolio process. But we'll just kind of go over some of the highlights here. That as we get in here, what we see is that the is our layout that I showed you one slide on, where we have our buckets of managing in a matrix organization, where we may have our functional groups here for ABC Company. We may have certain contracts that we have to manage, or we may have cross-functional projects or large programs. And I showed you the example of the finance. I clicked on that. We had our project management systems here. Project, I'm the project manager, John Aaron, is an example. And then when I drill down, I can go into my various quality gates, and you see that we have pretty much this kind of layout that I showed you before, where I would have my Q gate tables under each, and I can go in and, for instance, status them as I see fit. I might have one where here I'll change this from a no to a yes, and for this one, and then I might say now that my actual completion is 10/20/11, and so I'm making good progress in terms of closing out my sufficiency criteria, and this is the way a project manager would status, probably on a weekly basis or so, and then I would save my change, and when I close all these, then my quality gate slip chart would show that it would be closed. So here we have, in our instance, we are in the finance instance. I'm user number 999777 as an example. I can look on my drop-down. I can switch from project to project, all of these in the finance instance if I want to. And so if I'm a project manager and I have authorization to all these, then I can view them. And I can, if I have my admin rights, I can update them. We also have, as I said before, a risk management component here that allows you to, as a project manager, to input risks and take you to a risk register. And some of the things you can do is you can log some of these issues and risks and so on. And in terms of project manager, this is an example of keeping a log and the performance monitor functionality essentially as needed. If you run into risks that require going through more of a problem-solving mode, this allows you, it walks you through this, and it really documents your results, so you have that on hand. And I've seen that to be very helpful. You also have the ability to status your risks as you see them here, and then ultimately it would go on a, for instance, maybe a bubble chart, and this is what I showed you before, how this would work. And you see for yourself, this is really what we showed, right? So, some critical project management functions going on here. And a couple of the things that might be worth mentioning is that with our quality gate tables, as I talked about those, what you can do is you can link dependencies even from other instances or other projects that are in other functional areas through this dependency map here. So here I've linked this project milestone to an infrastructure project that's in, or a payroll project that's in a maybe an IT area. So you kind of get that, and it'll give you reports and show you information about those. If there's slippage there, what's it going to do here? You see those kinds of linkages, and it really helps in managing a matrix kind of an organization. A few more things while we're still rolling here. We also have a cost management component where we can input our actual costs. We can input costs using Excel. It keeps you a log, a history here of any change orders. You can export this information. It also has some functions for, I said, for inputting and certainly for reporting. And what project managers may do is they have a variety of reports they can run on their projects here. They can update their forecast for their go live. They can update, for instance, if we have a problem with scope management and it's unrecoverable, we may basically put that on red, right? Alerting